Happy Final Score Friday, everybody. Welcome into Morning JOX. Conrad Van Order and Damian Mitchell here with you until 7 o'clock. And this is my favorite show of the week. I don't know about you, Damian, but this is always the most fun, getting to go around and for predictions all throughout the show. 205-834-9450 if you want to text or call in. Get yourself on the courtesy GMC text line and just tell us what you're feeling. What's your gut feeling tomorrow on Alabama versus Georgia, Auburn versus Texas A&M? Maybe you've got a nice Oregon Penn State pick. Maybe you are chomping at the bit for tomorrow night because you want to watch Kentucky and South Carolina. I don't know. Whatever your cup of tea is, we would love to hear from you on the show today with your final score predictions. If you want to pick all the games, great. If you just want to pick one, that's also fine. So, again, we encourage you. Final Score Friday, we have a lot of fun each and every week, and so many of you get involved, and we love it. So, 205-834-9450 on the courtesy GMC text line if you want to start sending in your final score predictions, and we will get to those throughout the show today. But tomorrow's a big one. We've talked about it all week, and the fact that it's finally here, I'm very excited. I know a lot of people expecting this to be the best weekend of the college football season so far, and hopefully it will live up to those expectations. So we will give you our picks coming up around 6:30. We will dive in, give you our picks for a lot of the big matchups this weekend, of course, as we do each and every Friday here on the program. But before we dive into all of that, we've got some housekeeping to take care of around the world of college football, and we also had some football going on last night that we need to cover as well. So appreciate you joining us each and every morning here on Morning JOX, and especially on Fridays, because we have a big time, Damian, breaking down all the games, and I know you and I are about as excited as you can get for a weekend of college football coming up.
Yeah, and I think it's a little bit of a temperature check because the one game, besides, of course, the big one between Alabama and Georgia, but I feel as though from what I've seen, just kind of scrolling through social media and things, the Auburn-Texas A&M game, you see it on both sides. Like you can give me an argument that Texas A&M wins it, but you can also give me an argument that Auburn wins. Auburn beat them last year, and they were down. And with them being at home, and it was an exciting game going into 4 overtimes. But because of the performance that we saw last week, it's almost okay. Let's see what Auburn can do if they put 4 quarters together. Like they haven't played the complete game yet. Maybe Baylor, you could say, but it was the first game of the season, so you didn't really know what you were going to get on both sides. But I think what we've seen so far, both have been quote unquote battle tested. I think Texas A&M getting that win, in Notre Dame, kind of looks a little different now because of what Notre Dame has done this season. But it kind of feels on both sides of the coin. Like I'm kind of split 50-50. I kind of have a lean on where I'm going to go. But I'm interested to see where the listeners, where their hearts are, because I think Auburn fans, you want to scrub away what happened last week by putting on a great performance against Texas A&M. But Texas A&M, it's okay, we're for real. Now let's go out here and prove it against a quality opponent like an Auburn, and you can notch that win on your belt. How differently do we look at it, Texas A&M moving forward? So I'm interested to see on where people are as far as that game is concerned.
Yeah, no, I certainly agree with you, and I'm glad that the fans are ready to move on and take a look at the new challenge this weekend, because their athletic director is not. So
I knew it was coming. I knew it was coming.
I mean, I'm sorry, that's so corny.
Yeah, you're 48 hours away from.
It's Thursday, the week after the game, and your athletic director's releasing a statement about how.
Yep.
I mean, in a very nice way, saying, "Hey, we got screwed, and there's nothing they can do about it." Yeah, we know.
Yeah, that would have worked Sunday, the Sunday after the game. It'd have been, like, absolutely you should be ticked off. But we're 2 days away from kicking off in College Station. I think the focus needs to be on this week and not last week.
Some things never change. All right, let's move on to what happened last night, because we did have some football action going on last night as well. And we have a great slate. You got some good college football games coming up tonight as well. As you have Florida State and Virginia doing battle there in the ACC, and then you have TCU versus Arizona State in the Big 12. I think those are actually two really good games. Both of those spreads under a touchdown. So Vegas telling you they expect two tough matchups tonight for two ranked opponents there in Florida State and TCU. And I think especially a lot of people want to watch TCU and Arizona State because whoever wins that game, maybe they're kind of in the driver's seat alongside Texas Tech for, who people are going to expect to represent the Big 12 in their conference title game. So excited for those games coming up tonight, of course. But you did have one game of college football action last night as you had East Carolina taking on Army. And this one wasn't super competitive. It was East Carolina 28, Army 6, and ECU scored 21 points in the first quarter. They were up 21-0, and at that point, I mean, it was 21-0 after the first quarter. It was 21-0 at halftime. Army, they scrounged together 6 points there in the third quarter. ECU scored a touchdown in the fourth quarter to kind of just cement everything. But been a rough year so far for Army, who now falls to 1-3 on the season. And East Carolina, they now move to 3-2. The funny thing about Army and their resume so far, so they've lost to Tarleton State, North Texas, and East Carolina. Do you remember who their one win is against, Damien?
Kansas State.
Oh, buddy. Yeah.
Just make it make sense.
It is. Rough night to be a Kansas State fan last night. I think you're just kind of sitting there like rocking back in your chair like, where did this all go wrong? So, so it's bad night for Army, but a big win there for ECU as they, again, as I said, moved to 3-2. And their only losses this year, they did lose to BYU pretty comfortably, but a one-score loss to NC State, so fairly respectable there for the Pirates. But that was your college football action last night as ECU took care of business there against Army. And some of you may have been watching that game because if you were watching the first 3.5 quarters of the NFL game, you were probably bored to tears. But fortunately, the final, I don't know, Damien, what was it? Maybe like the final 8 minutes or so of game time. Incredible. Absolutely incredible. So I hope you stuck with it and stayed up late enough to watch it because it actually ended up being a very, very good game. So Seattle, they kind of had their way with the Cardinals in the first half. They were up 14-3. You had a couple of interceptions by Kyler Murray. One of them wasn't really his fault, but anyways, they were turning the ball over and they just really couldn't move the ball a whole lot offensively. But Sam Darnold doing okay. I mean, the Seahawks weren't doing anything particularly impressive, right? It was more so it was the Cardinals.
They're capitalizing on Cardinals' mistakes.
Correct. So it was 14-3 there at halftime. Both teams got field goals in the third quarter, so then it was 17-6. And so later in the fourth quarter, you had a situation there where the Seahawks could have gone up 23-13 with about 3 or 4 minutes left in the game, and you felt like at that point, okay, obviously it was going to be taken care of. But that is not what happened because Jason Myers missed a 53-yard field goal that would have put the Seahawks up 2 scores, and it gave the ball back to Arizona with just a few minutes left, and they worked some magic. So you did have the big touchdown catch by Marvin Harrison Jr. That's what made it 20-13, and you saw that was a big moment for him because the first year and change of his NFL career has not gone because, I mean, again, remember, this guy was supposed to he was a surefire. He was, a Jamar Chase type prospect, right? A can't miss, going to be an immediate star, and it just hasn't worked out that way. But a big showing for him there last night. He got that touchdown. You saw him kneeling down in the end zone. That obviously was a big emotional moment for him. But then that's when the Seahawks get the ball back. They missed the field goal, and it gave the ball back to the Cardinals with a couple minutes left with a chance to tie it. And that's exactly what they would do. They would drive down the field and score with 28 seconds left to make it 20-20. You're sitting there and you're going, all right, we've got all this momentum. There's 30 seconds left. At that point, if the game goes into overtime, you probably feel really good if you're the Cardinals, right? Because you've been playing much better than the Seahawks there for the last 8 or 9 minutes of the game. You kind of had them on the ropes. But unfortunately, you had is it a landing zone infraction, I believe is the official name of the call. You don't see this one a lot. Normally you see the kicker, it'll go out of bounds.
Right.
And then they put it at the 40. But this one, he kicked it off and it landed at the 21-yard line. And it has to land between the 20 and the goal line to be a touchback. So it lands at the 21. They get a landing zone infraction. The Seahawks get the ball back with about 25 seconds left at their 40. And at that point,
you ain't got to go too far.
Don't got to go too far. Nice catch there by Jackson Smith and Jigba late to set him up. They run the ball a couple of times, and Jason Myers gets redemption for the field goal he missed earlier, kicks a 52-yarder, and the Seahawks win at the buzzer 23-20. And yeah, a very exciting finish last night for the matchup. But yeah, the Cardinals were really bad for 3.5 quarters, and then the Seahawks were pretty bad for the last 8 or 9 minutes. And that's kind of how the game went.
Yeah, yeah, it was a snooze fest for about
Oh
three
yeah.
and a half quarters, and then all of a sudden you kind of see where Kyler Murray, you can see where he's probably worth a few of the dollars that he's getting paid, and it's okay. Well, maybe Kyler can find a way to get it done. He gets it down there, they tie it up, and right when that landing zone infraction happened, you kind of knew, yeah, this is the one time, this is the one mistake that you really can't have here in crunch time
Yep.
situations. And Sam Darnold didn't have to go too far, and like you said, Jackson Smith and Jigba. I don't think people realize how good he can really be because he was great at Ohio State, but he's not the biggest receiver. He kind of felt like he fell under the shadows over the Garrett Wilsons, the Chris Olaves.
He was just the slot guy, right?
Right. He's not the big guy. He's not the big guy. But he's a Swiss Army knife. You can give him the ball any sort of ways, and he just finds a way to make, third down catches. I mean, contested catches. He can do it all. And I think Sam Darnold has really resurrected his career because I was one of those when he was in New York. It's just, nope, he's not that guy. And then Minnesota happened with the bounces with, Carolina and San Francisco. It's okay, well, this is kind of just his career.
Mm-hmm.
Then when you got to Minnesota with Kevin O'Connell, it's okay, maybe he unlocked something. And you're kind of hesitant on why Seattle was going to pay him that much money to be their guy. Then you see, okay, yeah, he's still got some juice, man, and it's kind of good to see. But Kyler Murray, man, I don't know what to expect for him anymore. I really don't.
He's just an average. I don't want to say average. I would say he's a slightly above average quarterback in the NFL. I don't think
a very slight above average.
Yeah, like I think he's fairly solid, but he's not going to win you a Super Bowl, right? He's
No.
probably not going to win you many playoff game. Well, I don't think he's won a playoff game, but
No.
he's just. Here's the best way I can describe it. He's a good fantasy football quarterback, and in reality, he's an average quarterback.
Yeah, like he's not the guy. To me, he's not bad enough to be a backup, but he's not great enough to be looked at as an elite starter. Like he's just a starting NFL quarterback. That's about all I can really put him as.
Well, there's only 32 of those in the world,
right.
So that's worth something. But yeah, no, I mean, I'm right there with you. There's you have a ceiling on what you can accomplish when you have a guy like that, but they paid him money and they're kind of stuck with it right now. So yeah, that's the way it works. It is kind of interesting though, you bringing up Darnold with the Seahawks, just the fact that they got back to back because you had Geno Smith who essentially went through the same sort of career rehab that Sam Darnold has now. Just kind of funny that the Seahawks bailed on Geno Smith and said, we're going to go take the other guy who's turned his career around like that and kind of rolled the dice on it. So just kind of interesting how all of that works out there. But the Seahawks, they're a winner 23-20. They are now 3-1 on the season. Arizona falls to 2-2. So an interesting way to start off the week of NFL action there. But now that's enough professional football, realm of college football. What are some things going on? What's the latest around these Alabama, Georgia, Auburn, Texas A&M matchups? Some news and headlines from the college doctor that has taken over social media, and what is his relation to college football? We'll tell you all that next on Morning JOX. 6:18. Welcome back into the Final Score Friday edition of Morning Jocks. Conrad and Damien o'clock, and we encourage you send in your score predictions for what you think is going to happen over the college football weekend, whether it's one game, 10 games, doesn't matter. We would love to hear from you. 205-834-9450 there on the courtesy GMC text line. Just like this text that rolls in. And they have 4 score predictions for today. They go Alabama beats Georgia 38-24. Ole Miss beats LSU 31-17. I think they say Auburn versus A&M 17-28. So I'm assuming they have Texas A&M winning 28-17 over Auburn. And then they say Oregon versus Penn State 34-28.
Okay.
So there you go. You got some score predictions there. Another text rolls in. It says Alabama 35, Georgia 31. Well, good thing they're playing Georgia, not Georgia. I'm just
okay.
Autocorrect gets
Watch
the best
out,
of autocorrect always gets the best of all of us. So if you want to send in your final score predictions, we've got more that we will get to here, but we'd love to hear from as many of you as would like to chime in this morning. But before we get to our picks coming up, we're going to do that here in about 10 minutes or so. Got to give you some housekeeping around the world of college football. So if you're on social media, you probably noticed a lot of memes and conversation involving a very fine surgeon by the name of Dr. Shin yesterday. So the big news in college football a couple of days ago, if you missed it, was John Mateer, the Oklahoma quarterback who broke his hand in the Auburn game. He was going to have surgery this week in order to get that taken care of. And the thought was that he was going to miss about a month of the season. And, there were questions that came up because that would have, probably included a Texas game and there, which we all know is a big one for them. I think South Carolina would have been another one on the schedule that potentially would have been involved there. But if you're an Oklahoma Sooner fan, apparently this doctor is, apparently like the second coming of Christ to a lot of them because he operated on John Mateer and apparently did a very good job. Yes, it is also funny that he's a hand doctor and his name is Dr. Shin. There's some irony there for certain. But this guy was, they're going to build a statue out of him outside of the stadium there in Norman, Oklahoma. It feels like the attorney general for the state of Oklahoma awarded him and posted online a commendation for Dr. Stephen Shin for his service to the Oklahoma Sooners football program. This guy is, he's going to be a Sooner for life. He's never going to have to pay for a meal. He's probably going to have box seats to every game for the rest of his life. It's remarkable how many Oklahoma fans have gone over the top with this guy and praising him for what he's done and his operating on John Mateer. So it's one of those things where it's silly, it's fun, and it's what makes college football so great is you have an entire fan base rallying around this one doctor like, Doc, our hopes and dreams are in your hands. Please do a good job with this guy. And successful surgery. John Mateer gets to fly back to Norman yesterday and be with the team. And everybody starts, photoshopping pictures of Dr. Shin on the shoulders of players getting carried off the field there in Norman. It's awesome. It's fun. It's silly. It's just one of those things that, again, it reminds you why college football is the greatest sport in the world, in my opinion.
Right. It doesn't necessarily speed up the process. It's just, hey.
No, they're just grateful for him.
It's just grateful for the surgery. And, if you're Dr. Shin, you have reached folklore legend now in Norman, Oklahoma. And I'm with you. They're going to build a statue of him. And say John Mateer comes back from injury and just lights it up the rest of the way. I cannot imagine how successful Dr. Shin's life is about to be. He's going to be, on these talk shows of just, okay, so what was so different about the surgery? He's going to have some elaborate statement of, it's just a basic surgery. He needed a couple days after it, and I was the one that got it done. Simple as that. But he is now an Oklahoma Sooner legend forever.
Yeah, there's no doubt about it. So John Mateer went on Twitter yesterday. He said, "Thank God for a successful procedure. Dr. Shin is the GOAT. Boomer Sooner," and it just kind of all spiraled from there. I guess spiraled in a good way. But yeah, fun to see Oklahoma fans getting all excited about that. And it's just one of those fun parts of college football. I did want to play this clip as well. So we're going to jump to the Auburn Texas A&M game here for a second because I thought this clip was interesting. So this was Mike Elko a little bit earlier in the week, and this clip started to make the rounds a little bit. But I thought this was interesting because we all remember, right, last week against Oklahoma, Auburn gave up 10 sacks. You heard Hugh Freeze this week. He thought it was about 50-50 in terms of blaming the offensive line and then blaming Jackson Arnold for holding on to the ball too long. But this was Mike Elko talking about the Auburn offensive line and why he doesn't think there's going to be a repeat performance from last week in Norman.
Rush could be kind of pinning their ears back for?
Oh, I don't think so at all. I think they're extremely talented up front. I think it was a little bit of an anomaly on Saturday. I think we got a ton of respect for them, and I think human psychology, I said this to the guys this morning, human psychology says absolutely without a doubt the best unit on the field Saturday will be the Auburn offensive line. I can promise you that.
So there you go. You heard it from Mike Elko, basically human psychology in the sense of, if you had a week as bad last week as the Auburn offensive line did at times, mentally, you would expect that group to be more locked in, more focused this week than anyone else, right? Because they have a chip on their shoulder. They want to prove that, like he said, last week was an anomaly. Do you buy into that, Damian? Because, look, I do not think that Auburn's offensive line, I do not think last week is indicative of how good this group can be. I think this is the best offensive line Auburn's had in quite some time. But again, we're talking about 19, 20, 21-year-old kids here. The mental aspect of the game is a huge part of it.
Yeah, I get what he's saying. There's going to be a spotlight on that group. It really will be. But now, flip it on the other side of the coin. If there is some sort of leakage early on, or Jackson Arnold gets rushed, or maybe they can't necessarily establish the run game, then there's really going to be a target on their backs. But I do think that you'll probably see a different type of tenacity from the offensive line, at least early on in the ball game, because they want people to forget what happened the week before because of how bad it was. But also, if you're Texas A&M, you saw some things that Oklahoma did, and you probably want to disguise some stuff and really ramp up the pressure to check the temperature to see, like, okay, well, the issue has been out. Like, we know what the weak point is on this offense, and it's the offensive line, at least from last week. So he's right that he's going to look out, and he's probably going to have some exotic blitz to start the game off or a little early to see how real this offensive line is using their eyes and their hands to get, to iron out the things that they messed up on last week. But there is some truth to that. Like, the offensive line's probably come out with a little bit more juice than they have, especially last week.
Yeah, that's certainly what I would expect to see, and I know a lot of Auburn fans would like to see that as well. So we'll have to wait and see for Saturday how that group responds. But yeah, I do not think that you're going to have another performance like the other week. And I think similarly for Jackson Arnold, right? I would expect that he's going to be a little more locked in and probably not making some of those same mistakes this week, but only time will tell. So we're going to give you our picks here coming up in just a matter of minutes, but we do have some time. We want to get to some of your texts because a lot of them are coming in this morning, like Bobby, who chimes in with his score predictions for the weekend. He says, y'all have already come to blows this week, because I forgot, y'all have a rivalry this week.
Yeah, it's the Magnolia Bowl. Bro.
Yeah. This is a big one for both of you guys.
Absolutely.
Let's see. So let's go through this then. So Bobby chimes in this morning. He says, just here to drop a friendly reminder that Garrett Nussmeier's last 2 passes against Ole Miss went for touchdowns. And I just send my condolences again that Damian's first experience as a fan in the Magnolia Bowl is going to end in heartbreak. Go Tigers. Damian responded with, belt to ass, Ole Miss by 1,000, hotty toddy. See, you're already buying it. I like it. You're already.
Yeah, I'm not sending any condolences if Ole Miss wins.
No,
this is what we do.
No, and you shouldn't.
It's what we do.
Let's see. And then, okay, so y'all are going back and forth about the running game here. But Bobby, he chimes in. These are his official score predictions for the weekend. He says Georgia's going to beat Alabama 35-28. Okay. Texas A&M beats Auburn 42-35.
Oh, wow.
Okay, high scoring. Oregon takes down Penn State 31-24, and LSU beats Ole Miss 27-10, and Caden Durham puts belt to ass on that defense with 150 rush yards and 3 touchdowns.
Oh, no, he couldn't be more incorrect on the last one. You think Ole Miss is only going to score 10 points? We got Trinidad Chambliss, dog.
That would be unfortunate, certainly. Let's see. Walker from the state of Georgia chimes in. He says, Jacksonville State 31, Southern Miss 27. Go Gamecocks. All right. Like the love there for JSU. And then we have this guy who texted in and just says, Oklahoma cheated. No score predictions or anything. I forgot. Was it Oklahoma that had the ball with 5 minutes left and a chance to turn the game? Am I misremembering that game? I didn't think so. All right, we're going to give you our picks next. We have a great slate of games coming up this weekend, and me and Damon are going to tell you what our final thoughts are, some score predictions for Alabama, Auburn, Alabama, Georgia, Auburn, Texas A&M, Ole Miss, LSU, and many, many more. That's all coming up next on the Friday edition of Morning Jocks. Welcome back into Morning Jocks. Conrad and Damien here with you on your Friday morning. And you already know our picks for the week in the world of college football. And man, there is a full slate of games coming and enjoys all the games because I know I won't be leaving my couch tomorrow probably all day. So very, very excited for all of that. So let's get things started off, Damien. We'll start off early on. We will leave. I'll just go ahead and tell everybody we're going to leave Alabama and Georgia and Auburn, Texas A&M. Those will be the last two games that we share our picks for. So let's go ahead and get started off with the early slate of games. You got two big ones there around the college football world. So we'll start off Notre Dame at Arkansas. Notre Dame 1-2 on the season. Arkansas coming off back-to-back heartbreaking losses. Notre Dame only a 4.5-point favorite there on the road. The total is set at 63.5. What are your thoughts on this one, Damien? Are you riding with Sam Pittman? Because apparently I'm the biggest Sam Pittman hater in the world since I think he might lose his job this year. But I love Sam Pittman. I love Arkansas. They are so close to being 4-0, but that's not how life works, right? And that's why they find themselves at 2-2. I think coming off those losses, they're going to be motivated. and I really do want to pick them to win, but I can't bank on them right now. If you're telling me they're in a tight spot at the end of the game, I don't know if mentally they can get over that hurdle right now. So I'm going to take Notre Dame slightly. I think they win by maybe a touchdown.
I got you. You should actually go with your heart instead of going with your head. How about you, instead of being so pessimistic, how about you be more optimistic? Because you laid out exactly what Arkansas needs, and they got them at home. It's the belief. They have to get. I'm telling you, we're going to get good Taylor Green. I have a feeling we're going to get good Taylor Green. And I think Texas A&M kind of gave a little bit of the blueprint. I think that.
Oh, Arkansas is going to be able to score on them.
Oh, absolutely. And they're going to make a key defensive stop. I have more faith in Arkansas defense finding a way to make at least one stop where Notre Dame just won't be able to answer. So I think Arkansas wins a close one at home, and I also think they stay undefeated at home, which I thought they were going to do at the beginning of the season. So I'm rocking with Arkansas. I'm rocking with Sam Pittman. They're going to handle their business there in Fayetteville.
Okay.
Give me Arkansas.
All right, I like it. So I take Notre Dame. Damian takes Arkansas there, and that 11 a.m. kickoff tomorrow on ABC. Quickly, a Big Ten matchup at 11 a.m. as well. Top 25 game, USC and Illinois there in Champaign, Illinois. USC a 6.5-point favorite. Total at 60.5. Real quick, I really like USC this year so far. I think they look much better than they have the last couple of years. They actually play defense. I think Jaden Maeva has come a long way and is a pretty nice little quarterback there for Lincoln Riley right now. So I'm going to take the Trojans to win. I think they go in there, handle business. Illinois looked really, really bad last week against Indiana, and I think USC is going to put up some points and win by at least a touchdown.
I'm with you 100%. I think Lincoln Riley is kind of flying under the radar a little bit with all the scrutiny and stuff that he's had since he's been in the Big Ten with USC and just kind of how the years have gone. He's kind of flying under the radar. They look good. They're polished. They actually have a defense that can stop somebody.
Mm-hmm.
And that's all he really needed. I think Jaden Maeva has been about as good as you need him to be at the quarterback position for Lincoln Riley. And I think they're hitting their stride. And Illinois just so happens to be in the way. So I think USC wins pretty handily too.
All right, me and Damien in agreement on that one. Now this one of the best games of the day tomorrow, or at least we hope so. Maybe the highest scoring game of the day tomorrow if we're lucky. LSU at Ole Miss there in Oxford, Mississippi. 2:30 kick on ABC. Ole Miss a 1.5-point favorite that I'm looking at right now. The total is 57.5. Lane Kiffin says to take the over after his daughter announced her relationship with LSU linebacker Whit Weeks. That was his response. Take the over this Saturday. I'll be honest. I think this game sets up very well for Ole Miss, right? I think LSU, they do have a little bit of confidence because they maybe figured some things out on offense last week. But when we saw them the first 3 games of the season, not very impressed with that offense. I do think the defense is good, but I just think Ole Miss at home in this situation, Trinidad Chambliss has been playing at a very high level. You could probably say he's been better than Garrett Nussmeier this season, which is a crazy thing to say. LSU still can't run the ball very well. I think Ole Miss wins. I think it's really high scoring. I think it's a tight one, but I like Ole Miss. I think they get it done.
Yeah, even my fandom aside, I think Ole Miss is the better team in this situation. I think Ole Miss and what you've kind of seen with Trinidad Chambliss is he may have probably been the best option in the beginning as a whole. And I love the way this offense is trending. And no matter how you want to slice it up, they need to go ground and pound. You saw them put the nail in the coffin against Kentucky by running the football. And I think what we've been able to do as far as the passing game is just rinse and repeat from what we've seen Lane Kiffin offense has been look like. Defensively, yeah, we've had some inconsistencies. We've had some highs. We had some lows. But I do think you still have enough dudes on the defensive side to cause havoc for what Garrett Nussmeier and that offense that LSU is still trying to piece together. So if I put it like this, if I had seen LSU offensively put up the numbers they were putting up last season to start the season off this year, I'd feel a little bit different. But right now, I still think they're in the filling out process. And Ole Miss knows exactly what they need to do. I think they jump on them. I think Ole Miss wins at home.
Well, and look, obviously, the LSU offense is going to be more dangerous than Tulane's, but I think the way that you saw the Ole Miss defense respond after the Arkansas game, that gives me more optimism that they're going to be able to keep LSU in check tomorrow. All right, how about this one? Tennessee at Mississippi State there in Starkville. That's a 3:15 kick on the SEC Network. Tennessee, little over a touchdown right now, 7.5-point favorite. The total is 62.5. I think I'm going to take Mississippi State to cover. Now, I think Tennessee's going to win. Tennessee's going to win this football game. I'm not too concerned about that. Man, I look at what they did against Arizona State. They're playing at home. They have this swagger about them. I I think they can. I think they can make it more difficult than a lot of people expect for Tennessee. So I'm taking the Bulldogs to cover, but Tennessee to win.
I'll say something positive about my rival. They're undefeated.
Oh, I forgot. Yeah, you hate them now.
Listen, I think Mississippi State.
You picked them to beat Arizona State, though.
Yeah, they did. Yeah.
Well, I know. But...
I had a gut feeling about that.
Okay.
I do not have that same gut feeling about Tennessee. I think that Mississippi State has improved everywhere. They've improved all over the board. I think the confidence that they have is fair. It's warranted. They feel as though they can slay the Giants. But I just think that Tennessee, what they are able to do is be high-powered and vertical in the pass game, but if they need to make it a fist fight, they can do that. I don't think Mississippi State is there just yet. I think they have the element of surprise because of the fact they have to throw it all over the yard. Blake Shapen, when healthy, looks phenomenal for Jeff Lebby in this offense, but I just don't think they have enough for Tennessee and what they have on both sides of the football. Now, I do think it's going to be a high-scoring ball game, but I do think Tennessee is the better team going into it, and I think they handle their business. I think it'll be a sloppy but high-scoring game, and the Tennessee will pull out the victory.
All right, let's go to the college game day game. That's going to be Oregon and Penn State, as they're going to be there in Happy Valley for the whiteout this weekend. Penn State, a 3.5-point favorite at home, taking on the Oregon Ducks. And I'm so confident in this pick right here. I think Oregon wins this game outright. I think Penn State, again, I don't think they're bad, but I think they're a little overrated. And Drew Aller's lucky that a lot of SEC quarterbacks have disappointed this year because he hasn't been very good at all this year. He's actually been kind of bad. But I think Dante Moore, he's really shown me something as Oregon, because I wasn't sure about him, right? Coming over from UCLA, he's had a rough start to his college career, but they've gotten some things figured out there. I just think Oregon's the better team, honestly. I know it's a whiteout. I know it's Penn State, but it's also James Franklin in a big game. So I'm taking go Ducks.
I'm with you.
I got them to win and cover.
I'm with you. I think Oregon, the wrong team is favored,
in
my opinion. I think Oregon is on a tear. And what they've been able to do throughout this season to start things off, they've been essentially flawless. Like, they get it on both sides of the ball. I think what Dante Moore is kind of being slept on as one of the better quarterbacks in college football as well. Yes, I know it's a whiteout. Congratulations. But I do think Oregon is the better football team, hands down. And it kind of showed you. It kind of showed you a little bit, last year. But it is what it is. But I think that right now, what Oregon is dealing with and what Dan Lanning has really put into this team is going to show on Saturday. I just don't think Penn State matches up well with them right now. I think Oregon wins, and I think it'll be close. But you're going to know that Oregon is the better football team as the game goes on.
I think it'll be a competitive. Oregon scores late to make it, a 10-point win or something like that, where it kind of maybe looks a little 10-point win or something like that, where it kind of maybe looks a little more sideways in the box score than it wasn't there from Happy Valley. The box score than it wasn't there. From Happy Valley this weekend. All right, we've got Alabama, Georgia, Auburn, and Texas A&M. We're going to save those. So we're going to go to Alabama, Georgia, Auburn, and Texas A&M. We're going to save those. So we're going to go to quick break, come back, get more of your text on your Final Score Friday predictions, and we will share our final thoughts. More of your text on your Final Score Friday predictions, and we will share our final thoughts and our score predictions for Auburn, Texas to JOX. 6:47 here on your Friday morning. Appreciate you tuning it into Morning Jocks. Conrad and Damien here. Picks for the week. So we've gone through the slate except for two games. Of course, Auburn, Texas A&M, and Alabama and Georgia being the final two that we will get to here. And we're also going to get to some of your final score Friday predictions, like this one that just rolled in. Says Alabama 37, Georgia 26, Texas A&M 27, Auburn 25. Let's see, Greg in Athens, Alabama 31-27, Texas A&M 38-24 over Auburn. Appreciate you chiming in this morning, Greg. And let's see. This one says, I'm a backdoor Penn State game strictly because of Mo Bamba. The Nittany Lions win close thanks to the crowd noise at Beaver Stadium. Also, Bama by 1 million. That's KC from Alabama.
Okay.
Man, I just don't like that song.
You're not a big fan of it?
I mean, when it first came out, like we were in college and
yeah.
it worked, but
Yeah.
it's not a good song.
It kind of it wore itself out. I was like, okay, I thought we just kind of left that one there.
Yeah.
But now you can't go to a college stadium without hearing it.
That's correct. But you know what you will hear if you're an Auburn fan in College Station tomorrow? You're going to hear Power by Kanye West because they love to play that there at Kyle Field. And that is going to be a fantastic matchup as Auburn tries to shake off the loss to Oklahoma. Texas A&M, they try to stay perfect on the season and ranked there up in the top 10. So as it stands right now, A&M a 6.5-point favorite, total at 52.5. I think that Auburn is in a better position to win this game than they were against the Oklahoma game. I feel better about this matchup than I did about last week's matchup with Oklahoma. I think going on the road is going to be tough. I think the fact it's a revenge game for Texas A&M based on last year, I guess at this point with Auburn, it's like just let me see a little more from Jackson Arnold. Let me see that they can run the football, which they couldn't really do against Oklahoma last week. I think it's I think this is a very, very, very close coin flip type of game. But going on the road, I'm going to take Texas A&M to win, but I think Auburn covers the spread. And I think the margins are very, very thin in this one. So I'll take the home team that's perfect on the season, and I'll take Auburn to cover. And if Jackson Arnold shows us a little something else, I think that Auburn can get the win. But that's where I'm at right now.
Okay. I've kind of been going back and forth with this game.
It's a tough one, man.
It is. I think for Auburn, had it not gone the way that it did last week, and no matter how you slice it up, you could say the officials messed up. They did. But you also had opportunities to win that ball game. And it's kind of the recurring theme even from last year. It's when you find yourself in these one-possession games, these close battles, you still cannot get over the hump. I think they get it corrected. I think Auburn, I'm with you. I had a better feeling of them pulling off a win on these past two games on the road for Texas A&M as opposed to Oklahoma. I kind of felt like Oklahoma, if they played like they were supposed to and they played at 100%, they would win the ball game. But I do think defensively for Auburn, what you've been able to do is stifle a lot of – like you made John Mateer look human. And granted, he still had 300 of 303 total yards, but you made him work for that. I don't think Marcel Reed is as talented as John Mateer is.
No.
And what you're able to do defensively is punch people in the mouth. And I think that's what they do. And Texas A&M, I love KC Concepcion. I do. I love Mario Craver, but I still don't think that's enough. I think Auburn's offense, they get it under control. I think Auburn wins a close one in College Station.
I think the secondary for Auburn and their ability to run the football, I think those are the two things. If the secondary plays well and they run the football well, I feel really, really good about Auburn's chances. And so let's see it on Saturday and prove me wrong with my pick there for Texas A&M and a close one. All right, we've got Alabama and Georgia there between the hedges in Athens. 6:30 kick tomorrow. Georgia a 2.5-point favorite right now, over/under at 53.5. We've talked about this game a lot this week. I think, let me put it like this. I don't think I've ever picked Alabama to lose in these situations. To be fair, there's not really a lot of opportunities to pick Alabama to lose in the 5 or 6 years that I've worked here. But this is the closest I've ever been to picking Alabama to lose a football game just straight up. And I think Georgia, playing at home, 33 straight wins. That is a brutal situation and environment to go into. And we saw what happened against Florida State with the hostility there. And Alabama got punched in the mouth early, and they didn't know how to respond. Do they know how to respond this time? I think they do, because it's a Georgia program that they know they have the mental edge over. Because I don't care what you say. You can say, well, teams don't fear the Alabama script A anymore when they step on the field. They may not, but the Georgia Bulldogs do for whatever reason. So give me Alabama in a close one, 31-27. I'm sticking with my score. That's been my score prediction all week. I'll be honest. My head tells me Georgia, but my gut tells me Alabama. I think Ty Simpson has a big day. Give me Alabama 31-27.
Whew. I feel you, Conrad.
It's all right. Pick Georgia. It's fine.
I kind of feel very similar to the same way I feel about Ole Miss and LSU about this game. I just think it's psychological with Georgia. There have been times where you've actually had the better team and still found ways to lose. I think Alabama is out for blood. I do. I think what happened in the first game is so far behind them that it was the wake-up call they needed. Now, successful teams, they rise above it, and I think Alabama is doing that. I don't think the atmosphere is going to intimidate them. I don't think the game plan for Georgia is necessarily something that they fear. I think Alabama goes out and shows their dominance. I think that it's one of those, not necessarily a beatdown, but I do think that Alabama starts to pull away late in that ball game. It's going to be extremely physical. And I think I'm with you. I think Ty Simpson continues on the streak that he's been on, and those receivers continue to make big-time plays in big-time situations. So I think Alabama wins a close one. I think it'll be 35-24. Like, it's like a late – I think it's close all the way up until that point, and then Alabama puts the nail in the coffin there at the end. So give me Alabama.
All right, so there you have it. Me and Damian both picking Alabama in a close one there over the Georgia Bulldogs this weekend. And in our final few moments here, let's get to some more of your final score predictions on the courtesy GMC text line. Like Nick from North Birmingham, he has Auburn 27, A&M 24, Alabama 38, Georgia 31, Oregon 44, Penn State 32, and LSU 24, Ole Miss